So it's time and talents time. It's time to start thinking about how we're going to join in. It's the big ask, if you will. And we're reminded about that vision reading that we've had from Acts, that the people in the early church, when it was growing and blossoming and exciting, were devoting themselves and giving to each other everything that each other needed. And that did include selling stuff, and that did include money, but it included, I'm sure, if you're devoted to people and you give them what you need, that includes your time and your talents as well. And we're reminded in the gospel passage we just looked at, in that familiar little vignette of the proud Pharisee and the humble tax collector. And the humble tax collector knows that he's not worthy, that what he's given is not enough, but he gives it anyway. We're reminded that it's not about the prestige, about being seen to be great. I'm stuck here in the limelight, and that's awkward because I get a lot of prestige, but it does mean I have to remember that if it's all going wrong, that people will see that as well. So that's good. I'm not going to name all the people at this church who do what the humble tax collector did, though, who quietly bring their stuff, who do what needs to be done, who slide sliders and work switches and mow grass and make flower arrangements and serve coffee. And I mean, you can see, you've got this list of the things that we do at church, and there's pages of things that are done by a large list of people. It's brilliant. And I'm not going to name them because I don't want to take away their treasure in heaven, but you know who you are, and I see you. This church is filled with excellent chunks of tax collector style service there. People who feel that it is their duty to join in and to serve, but also, I hope, a joy. I hope that's what you find out as you talk to them. It is a special delight to find the thing that fits you, that is just your shape, and to be part of something that is bigger than you, to give your time and your life to something that is making a difference, to work alongside other people in doing that. There is joy and calling together, I think, in our service at church. And those have been the watchwords of this series. And so we come to the giant, chaotic jobs fair thing today. This today is a chance for you to explore the different jobs, the ministries of this church, with people who either lead in those areas or people who have done those things in the past and perhaps have some expertise and some experience, to ask them what it is that they do, how it works. What does that commitment look like? Do I need to do this every week or every year or where in between? And why is it that they enjoy it if they're still doing it? Because church only works when we bring what we have, right? And actually only works really well if we all bring what we have. I think when we do, it is a joy to find that what we bring, whatever it is valued and needed and used. God does have a call for each of us, several for most of us, I think. You have a mission. Your mission today is to find or start finding where it is you can serve. And I wouldn't say this is a thing that you have to do, although it is, but I would say that this is a thing that you get to do. Yes, you have to do it, but what a joy it is that you have to do something that is brilliant and fun. It's just like eating broccoli. You have to do that, but it is an unremitting joy, right? Maybe not. So the question will be, what are you called to do here? And it might be stuff that you're skilled at, that you see the list of jobs and go, I'm good at that. They need help with that. I can do that. I've already got the skills. I've got the experience. It might be something that you have no skill or experience at whatsoever yet, but are passionate about. There are some areas that are new that we're looking to get into, and I'm in. I don't know what we're doing there, but that's the thing that God is knocking on my door about. Could be something that you're curious about, something that you don't particularly want to do, in fact, at all, but you feel obliged to and God is telling you to. Could be any number of different things. It might be a lot. It might be that you've got time right now and you want to really invest in this church and that's what you're called to do. It could be that you're called to other things in your life at the moment, for the most part, to parenting, to your work, to whatever. It could be that your time for large commitments has passed and you're called now to small things. They're not small to God. It's fine. It could be something that someone else is already doing. I'm not suggesting that all of these things on this list we need to replace who's doing them, but that we start working ourselves out, that we work alongside each other, that we make it easier for those people who are doing it and think about who will do it next. It might not be something that's on the list. There's a space at the bottom on the back for, no, I think I need to do this. There definitely needs to be a dog walking yoga club, and I will lead it. I don't know. But if there's a thing, write it down, let me know. These things, for the most part, don't have an age limit. There are already people who are 8 years old who read our readings. There's been someone who is 7 years old passing the plate around and taking it up to the altar. We don't have Sunday school today for two reasons. Number one, the people who do Sunday school are here, and you can talk to them about how it works in Sunday school. I'm not sending them anywhere. But also, the people who go to Sunday school, we don't send them out because they don't have stuff to contribute. If you can walk and talk, then you definitely have stuff you can bring to this church. You should be part of this conversation today. You might need your parents to help you with that conversation, and it might be a little awkward. But if you are small, you can still be having a word and finding out how you can join in. And you can't be too old for these things. You might physically be too old to do lots of them, but there will be something that you can participate and help in. And it's not really written down on the list in many places, but if you show up faithfully every week, pray for other people, say hello, be loving and welcoming, that's a huge commitment, and we love that too. People already talked about that. There are one or two areas where I think there aren't really things going on at the moment, and I want to urge us towards that. If you could join in, if you have a passion for or calling to help with our youth work, with helping people between 10 and 20, then that is really important that we find out who that is, and we start that team now and think, what are we going to do for these people? So that's not a thing where we can tell you exactly what works, but certainly a thing where we can start building the team who will care about that. If you want to talk about that, talk to Simon or to Matt, who are over there, or to me. Prayer ministry is a thing that's been on some of our hearts since before I got here. If you would like to talk about prayer ministry and what that looks like, Val is here. Is Val here? Talk to Val. She's not in charge of prayer ministry, but she's been doing it for years, and she can tell you the sorts of things that we do. You could talk to me as well, or to one or two others. But this is a chance in those cases to get in at the start, get in on the ground floor, I believe is the investment term, and think about how we shape those new ministries. We could use some more people on PCC, because quite a few people are stepping down this year. Talk to anybody who's been on PCC about that. Who's been on PCC? Julie has, Pauline, Dave, Stephen is here, Sue, Brenda. There's a lot of us. We will need people to step up and be part of PCC this year. There's a lot of people stepping off it. And if you don't know what your thing is, talk to Sue. Sue's here, having been ordained herself. If you're ordained in the Church of England, you do a lot of jobs. This week, my proudest achievement was making the photocopier print these on both sides. That's the thing I know about. The second proudest achievement was working out how to play a song in 6/8 that we'll do some other time. You do a lot of different things, and Sue has done a lot of different things. She's the next drummer when Ethan goes down. But if you don't... She just learned that. But if you don't know what your calling is, then who better to sit with than Sue? And Paul, when he gets back, and say, I don't know where I fit. What's my thing? Sue is our designated careers officer for the morning. So go and find her. She's over there. I'm not going to ask you today to sign up to anything, as I said. We're going to explore and wonder and be curious and say, what is God nudging me towards? We're going to sign up in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today, I'm going to ask you to bring these back with your contact details on. And we'll talk about money a little bit again next week. That'll be the same. In 2 weeks, we're going to bring these. We're going to put them on the altar and say, this is my stuff, Lord. This is how I would like to join in, and we'll start shaping anew some of those ministries. This is just a chance to explore. We're going to have 20 minutes now to do that, to wander around, to talk to anybody on that list. We're going to have coffee and biscuits while you're doing it. Come and see what it is that you're doing. Then we're going to stop and we'll have communion, because it is good for us to gather, and all of those thoughts will be rattling around in our heads, and we will be at the Lord's table. That'll be slightly different as well. And then at the end of the service, we will have another few minutes. I know some people will need to get to the end of the service and shoot off, but if you don't, you can pin down the other people that you didn't get a chance to talk to. So before I send you into the freewheeling, chaotic, whirling dervish of the jobs fair, and to find whoever it is you need to talk to, let us pray. Come, Holy Spirit. Lord, in this space, would you move among us? Would you inspire us into the anointed little conversations that will help us see where you're calling us to serve? Would you be clear and present to us in the noise and the chaos and the joy of us beginning to examine who you're calling us to be. Thank you that you invite us into this community and into your kingdom. Amen. Amen. Coffee is served. Conversations are open. Off you go.